Greetings, this is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. Today's topic, Jubilee, return to your land. And what I got here is a map of the 12 tribes of Israel about the time of the book of Joshua. And the implications for this are in regards to the Jubilee year. The scripture reference is Leviticus 25 verse 13. On this year of Jubilee, each of you shall return to his own property. So depending on what tribe someone belongs to, this would determine the land they are to go back to. Now just to give you a little bit of an idea, in a modern day sense, just follow the cursor from the Sea of Galilee down to the Dead Sea. You know, this is the Jordan River. West of here is modern day Israel. East of here is essentially modern day Jordan, and then we get up in this area, Aram, that's modern day Syria. You talk about Aram and the Aramites in Isaiah, that's Damascus. Up here, Mount Hermon, Golan Heights, this is some of the area that's under contest right now and dispute in Gregorian year of 2016. So keep those things in mind as you look at this map. But back to the scripture, every 50th year the people of Israel, they were to return to their designated tribal land. At the time of receiving the law, Israel had been wandering around the desert for 40 years. And eventually Israel entered the land and controlled with conquest in Joshua chapters 1 through 12. God divided the land among the tribes of Israel in Joshua 13 through 24. And so these are the boundaries that were defined in Scripture in Joshua chapters 13 through 24. So if you want to check those out as references, this is how God effectively divided up the land of Israel. Leviticus 25 verse 23, the land, moreover, shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine, for you are but aliens and sojourners with me. So God is making it very clear, this is my land. And he leased the land to the inhabitants, nation Israel. So the tribes do not own the land, God does. The land is granted by God to his chosen nation. And you think about it, as people, we are temporary and finite. We're not eternal. When we die, we cannot take the land or any other material possessions with us. So God's very clear in Scripture, the earth is his. God's ownership is stated from the beginning in Genesis to the New Testament. For starters, he created it in Genesis 1. And it goes beyond just the land. And he extends ownership beyond the atmosphere of planet Earth. I mean, he owns the universe. Scripture reference for that, Deuteronomy 10, verse 14, the heavens, indeed the highest heavens, belong to the Lord your God, as does the earth and everything in it. God transfers authority and possession according to his own choice, but he still owns everything. And he chose Israel. You know, this was how he defined Israel. Right here, if you follow the cursor clockwise. This is how he defined Israel back in Joshua's day. And he gave them a specific allotted land. And so you're looking at it, you know, from Manasseh to Gad to Reuben, Simeon, Judah in the south, Benjamin. Well, Benjamin was also part of the south. Dan, Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar, Zebulun, Naphtali, and Asher. You know, you can even go up into this day, parts of Asher and Naphtali. This is modern-day Lebanon up here. Tyre and Sidon, that's modern-day Lebanon. So you can see, I mean, can you imagine if the Sanhedrin goes to the UN and says, you know what, we've declared this Jubilee year in the Gregorian year 2016, and 49 years from now, we're going to send all of our people back to their lands, and then they approach Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, and say, you know, it's time for our people to go back to the land. God gave us this land. How do you think that would go down in the UN? Probably not too well. But, you know, again, more scripture references. Exodus 19:5, now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for all the earth is mine. Again, the idea is God owns the earth. Jeremiah 27 verse 5, by my great strength and outstretched arm I made the earth and the people and the animals on the face of the earth. I give it to anyone I please. And God even reminds Job that he owns everything. God does not owe anyone a single thing. He's not in debt. Job 41 verse 11, who confronted me that I should repay him? Everything under the heaven belongs to me. And this is true even in the New Testament. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 26, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And so God is a landlord, and he operates on a 50-year lease with his people Israel and his land. Every 50th year, everyone goes back to where they belong according to him. Debts are forgiven. Everyone gets a fresh start and a clean economic slate. And that's something to think about too within this context of a Jubilee year. You know, our global economic system is built on debt, and God's making it pretty clear he doesn't like debt. He has no debt. He's not in debt, and he expects his people not to be in debt. And at some point, he's going to play that card too, and that's going to be an ugly day when an entire economic system based on debt goes down. But that's a topic for another day. And in the future, you know, he will redefine borders and geography for his chosen people. And trust me, they're going to have way more land than just what's west of the Jordan River at some point in the future. So if you're interested in this topic, check out paulthepope.com. I'll have a link provided where there's some information on a study. Also, just look at keywords Jubilee, trend update, Abrahamic Peace Covenant. There's also some things there. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.